Hey, welcome you to the Timed Framework for Lifestyle Transformation, created by Dr. Winnie Wafula. So, what is T.I.M.E.D? This is the acronym for the Holistic Lifestyle Transformation Framework, whereby T is for think, I is for imagine, M is for move, E is for eat, and D is for do. In this video, we are going to take a closer look at the T pillar, the think pillar. Let's think about what we're thinking about. We may have heard of the famous book, Think and Grow Rich. And let's apply it to other aspects of our lives. Is it possible that you can think and grow rich? I believe so, because there are testimonies from people who have read that well-known book. So, in the same way, we can say, think and get thinner when you're trying to lose weight. Or you can say, think and get a job if you're looking for employment. Think and get a spouse if you want to get married. Think and pass the exams. Many people are studying for one reason or other, whether for looking for academic qualifications or you want to learn another skill, and there may be an exam to do. And a lot of people fear exams, so can we replace that by saying think and pass the exam? Is there a way you can think and pass exams? Because I know for sure there are people who have failed exams, and afterwards they say that they never even thought they could pass, and so they were not surprised. So what you think actually affects how things work out for you. But for today, for this week, I want us to focus on having some peace of mind, being calm in our lives. I want us to have this idea that you can think and be calm. And I think this is number one priority. I know from my own life experience and from interacting with others that this is a number one priority. Think and be calm. So, in this number one priority that I'd want us to focus on this week, think and be calm. Why does it come first? It's because if you manage your stress levels, everything else will work out just fine. It doesn't matter how things are right now. If you're not stressed about it, you'll think more clearly about what you can do to make the situation better, and you know what you should not do because it can make the situation worse. If you manage your stress levels, everything else can work out. Think and be calm. Why does this come first? This is because if you manage your stress, everything else will work out just fine. It doesn't matter what things look like. If you are not stressed, you'll be more likely to think of what you can do to cope with the situation and even to improve. However, if you are stressed, you are more likely to do something that can make things even worse than they already are. So think and be calm is number one priority. Because if you're continually stressed, everything else is at risk. Think about your health. It is at risk if you are stressed. Your job is at risk if you are stressed. Your relationships will suffer if you are stressed. So it is really, really important that we manage our stress levels because everything else depends on it. Here are some quotes. Number one is my favorite. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Well, ladies, don't panic. We are included. Because it's talking about mankind, male and female. So we can as well say, as a girl thinks in her heart, so is she. The other quote I like to think of is, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you are right. Whatever you think you can't do, you are right. You can't. And what you think you can do, you are right, you can. So depending on whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, either way, you are right. So it looks like we need to take our thoughts more seriously. I want to put it to you that we can choose peace. Let's choose peace. The turmoil in the world doesn't have to get into your mind. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be the only one who isn't stressed out about what's going on in the world. And it is possible to be that different person so that the turmoil in the world doesn't get into your mind. Guess what else can happen? Your peace can spread. Yeah, you can become contagious with your peace. Your family, your friends, and your workplace can all be infected in a nice way with peace. That's a nice infection. People catch flu and all sorts of diseases because they spread from one person to another. But a nice thing like peace, peace of mind, calmness can also spread, yes, to your family, to your friends, and in your workplace. So, we start by having a prevailing thought. We decide on what we should think about, we should focus about for this week. I would like to invite you to join me in my prevailing thought for this week. Let's choose peace. Let's decide that the turmoil in the world will not affect our minds. the turmoil in the world does not have to get into our minds. The thought I have chosen for this week, and I invite you to join me in this, let's have this prevailing thought in our minds. I will think thoughts that promotes peace of mind. I refuse to dwell on thoughts that steal my peace of mind. Let me just say this again. I will think thoughts that promote peace of mind, and I refuse to dwell on thoughts that steal my peace. So, at any given time, I can check myself and say, wait a minute, am I thinking thoughts that promote peace? Am I dwelling on thoughts that steal my peace? That will not be. I have decided that that will not be my reality. As we choose peace, it is important to keep a journal, to do audits. In the audits, you check what happened, just like you would do with a budget. If I plan to spend XY amount of money on an item, is this what happened? Or did I spend more? Maybe I spent less. So in the same way, you do an audit and say, okay, what have I been thinking about? Am I thinking about what I decided to think about, or did something else get in the way? Is there an unapproved thought that got into my mind? If there is, I can delete it. If you're on track, you keep on. Be intentional. Remind yourself of the chosen prevailing thought. I will think thoughts that promote peace of mind. I refuse to dwell on thoughts that steal my peace of mind. Keep it in your journal. Keep auditing to see whether indeed it is what is happening. Think about what you're thinking about. Keep track of your thoughts. Document your progress. Hold yourself accountable and get like-minded persons to walk with you along the journey. You're more likely to make progress and achieve your end goal if you are accountable to yourself and if you have somebody supportive to hold you accountable. You may say, I've tried, but it's so hard. Of course it is. That's why there's a helper, and that's why there are thinking guidelines. So, when you decide to think about what you're thinking about, when you keep track of your thoughts, when you document your progress, when you hold yourself accountable, working with like-minded persons, refer to the thinking guidelines and ensure that at any given time, you are thinking thoughts that promotes peace of mind and refuse to dwell on thoughts that will steal your peace of mind. So I mentioned guidelines. Be sure to keep within these guidelines. Be sure to think about what you're thinking about, to keep track of your thoughts, to track and document your progress, holding yourself accountable, and working with like-minded persons will also help you to be accountable. And now, here is what I have chosen to be my thinking guidelines. You may have your own quotes, resources that you find helpful, and you're welcome to do that. If that's what works for you, go right ahead and make use of that. However, you may also decide to use these guidelines that have worked for me and for many others. This is faith stuff, and it helps. And here are the guidelines. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. These are thinking guidelines that I use, and they have helped me a lot. For example, if somebody's rude to you at the workplace, you don't have to fix your mind on that. It doesn't fall within the guidelines because it may be true that they were rude to you, but it's not honorable, it's not right, it's definitely not pure and lovely, and it's not admirable. Neither is it excellent nor worthy of praise. So why focus on it? So that does not belong in your thought pattern. When you have decided to think according to these guidelines, when you have decided that you'll think thoughts that promote peace of mind and avoid thoughts that steal your peace of mind. So here are the guidelines once again. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Now we know how to fix our thoughts when they start wandering. Yes, because there will be plenty happening that will pull your mind this way, and you may find that your thoughts are wandering. So these guidelines help you to come back on track and say, wait a minute, this does not fit in my thinking guidelines. This does not tally with my prevailing thought for this week, for this day. Therefore, I am not having that. I am deleting that from my mind. I will not focus on that. I will not fix my mind on that. You know what? In the guidelines, as a bonus, this is in the neighborhood of stuff like peace that surpasses all understanding. Who doesn't want that? Sounds like what we need today, because it will be surpassing all understanding. All understanding, what is expected, is that you'll be stressed out like everyone else, worried about this and the other, all of which would be understandable. But when it surpasses understanding, it will have no explanation. No one will understand why you are not be stressed out about what is going on. Your reality will be different because you will not allow the turmoil in the world to get into your mind. You will have peace of mind regardless of what is happening. We can have peace in the midst of turmoil, so let's choose peace. Let the turmoil in the world not get into our minds. That's it, folks. Let's think and change things. Let's be what we think. Let's think and have what we desire, starting with a peace of mind. People have thought and become rich. We can think and be peaceful in our minds. Let's use the thinking guidelines to fix our minds on what we want to fix them on, and not every thought that assails our minds. Think about what you're thinking about. You can audit your thoughts. You can remove the uninvited thoughts and replace them with your chosen prevailing thought. Here's our prevailing thought for this week. I will think thoughts that promotes peace of mind. I refuse to dwell on thoughts that steal my peace of mind. So this is how we can apply that T pillar in the T.I.M.E.D framework for lifestyle transformation. We can decide what to think. We can choose our thoughts. We can determine what will be our prevailing thought in any given situation at any given time. You can book a call to talk to Dr. Winnie Wafula if you need support in customizing the think pillar to your situation. The link is in the description. You may also request the free resource, the 7-Day Stress Detox Guide, to help you get started on a calmer lifestyle. And so, my friends, let's choose peace. Let's think thoughts that promote peace of mind. Let's dwell on thoughts that promote peace of mind. When you manage stress, every area of your life will see a positive change. We'll see you in the next video when we'll be talking about another pillar in the T.I.M.E.D framework for lifestyle transformation. Thank you. See you in the next one. Disclosure: this content was created by Dr. Winnie Wafula and narrated by her digital assistant.